Well, blessed Wednesday to you as we come with your daily encouragement, and we are going through scriptures through the epiphanies, the manifestations of God in this world. We looked at Jesus' birth, which is probably the most famous one, where God took flesh. We looked at Jesus' naming and circumcision, where he became part of the people of Israel, but also became, in each of these cases, the reorienting of people towards not a temple or even a location, but to a person. This person was born in a manger in Bethlehem. This person was circumcised and named on the 8th day, and we're invited to plan our years, plan our markings, our dates that will appear on our tombstone, marking the circumcision and naming of Jesus, not just his birth, but his naming, and also our departure dates. You see, this epiphany, this manifestation of God, reorients our lives. And another group of people it reoriented were the famed, if not mysterious, magi from the east. They're called wise men. Sometimes they are limited to three, and in tradition they're usually given names: Casper, Melchior, and others. They have different names given to them, and they usually represent all the nations of the world. It's usually a fulfillment of Isaiah 62. If you look at our readings during this month of Epiphany, they're all organized around Isaiah 58 through Isaiah 62 and 63. All of them are focusing on the one who is the anointed one, who reorients our lives. And that's why Epiphany is so important. And so these wise men had seen Jesus as a star that guided them to Bethlehem. But they didn't know better. Just like the shepherds, they needed supernatural knowledge that they didn't have to guide them not to the capital city of Jerusalem, but to the town of Bethlehem where Jesus would be guided. And so it says, in the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star is rising, and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard of this, he was frightened, and all of Jerusalem with him. And calling together his chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "Not in Jerusalem, not at the temple, in Bethlehem of Judea. For so it has been written by the prophet, 'And you, Bethlehem, the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you shall come a ruler who is to be a shepherd of my people.'" And those words come from Malachi, my prophet, my messenger, which either refers to Jesus or John the Baptist, the one who is doing the word of the Lord. And when Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared, and then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring him my word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out from there, ahead of them. And when the star that had been seen in its rising until it stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary the mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. And opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. Probably one of the best sermons I have ever heard of Epiphany focuses on that very last verse. And warned in a dream, they went by another road after they had visited Jesus in Bethlehem. And that's what we're invited to do. You see, the wise men were just following the star. It was going to be in Judah. So let's go to the capital of Judah. Nope, he's not found there. He's found in Bethlehem. Same message that the shepherds got. Same message that we get. Although we now have been told the good news that where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he is there. Also at the end of Matthew's gospel, the Great Commission. Go into all the world, preach the gospel, teach, and baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And then it says, Lo, I am with you always. This one is not bound to place, but is bound to a person. And that is what the gradual revelation happens at the beginning of Luke's gospel, Matthew's gospel, and Mark and John also, but more specifically in those first two. Because we need to be reoriented, and Luke will be focusing on that it's no longer the temple, but it is the person. And while people continue to worship in the temple until its destruction, and today, even in its ruins, our Jewish friends will worship there, send prayers in the mortar to the temple. Our connection, where God is found, where God is epiphany manifested, is in a person who causes us, once again, that verse 12, to go down another road. Because if they went down that same road, got nostalgic, hey, we had a good time with Herod, let's go back to Herod, they would have been killed. If they had been nostalgic and just gone by a different place as if nothing had changed because of the birth of this Messiah, they would have found that it was not life-giving anymore. I had a pastor years ago that told me this analogy. The people of Israel found salvation for a time and a place in Egypt. It was to help them through the famine during the time of Joseph. But, as always, God's people are called to be peripatetic, to be people on the move. And what was once a time of salvation turned into a time of slavery. And it is good. It doesn't necessarily mean that we don't remain in places, but the one that we remain with is not necessarily the things around us or the situations around us, because they will always change. And we're entering into a new administration reminding us that politics change, representatives change, even borders change over years. When I was in Europe, I got to experience a gentleman who had lived under 6 different governments. He was 100 years old, and he was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire and then died in the Slovak Republic. 8 different changes in his lifetime. Amazing. But he was a Christian. And so he had one Lord that he trusted in, no matter how many constitutions came his way. And that always gave me a tenacity to realize this is the one that we worship. This is the one that is our strength. This is the one who is Epiphany. And he may cause us to go down another road, but it's because that is where he's leading. He is our star. God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.